بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. And welcome to another session of التعبير القرآني by Dr. Fadil Saleh Samirra'i. And we are continuing with our chapter 2 discussion where he's talking about the difference between using a verbal sentence and a nominal sentence, the difference between a jumla fi'liya and a jumla ismiya, or bringing the صيغة الإسمية or the صيغة الفعلية. And we had discussed quite a bit. And last week, he was explaining a difference, like perhaps in an ayah that was mentioned, why in that particular ayah, the jumla fi'aliyah was brought, whereas there was a instead of the jumla fi'aliyah was brought in reference to death, when he had already explained that death has to do with stillness, motionlessness, and therefore it suits better to have a jumla ismiya with it, or an ism with it, an ism that shows permanence and establishment. So he was explaining the exception, if you will, in Surah Ali Imran, where Allah says, وَيُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَيُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ, where he used يُخْرِجُ for death. So he uses the jumla fi'liya for something that is motionless, for something that is not moving, right? Whereas hayy, without life, the living, he describes as something that has movement, and therefore it suits to have a fi'l, which is also continuous and regenerates and renews. So that was the point that he was trying to make. And he quoted the ayah. This is the ayah, right, in Surah Ali Imran. وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت من الحي. That's the part being referenced. And then just maybe as a point of clarification about hina, I know I explained it in the group, but maybe just to mention in case somebody was wondering, hina, it can be an ism, it can be a masdar, it can be a dharf, and in this case it is being used as a dharf. And remember when we had dharf, there are special mudafs that always have a fatha unless they come with a harf jar. And if they come with a harf jar, there are two situations. Either it's going to behave like a brat, or if it gets a mudaf ilay, it's going to have a kasra. So that's why this situation where either you can say fi hina or fi hini, in that sense. So both a fatha and a kasra there is, it is allowed. Although in a case where the mudaf ilay is mentioned, like in this case, then a kasra is preferable. Just like min qablu, min qabli, right? Same kind of like situation happening here with fi hina, fi hini, same stuff. Just as a clarification there.
Can I ask a quick question here?
Yes,
with respect to what you've just said. So you said this because the mudaf ilayh is mentioned here. So in terms of i'rab, it would then fall into the mubtada bucket because the inna siyaqa is mubtada?
No.
No. Okay.
So fi hina, this is the harf jar, and this harf jar is beating on hina. And then
Right.
hina would be, so this whole thing will be like a muta'alliq.
So but hina is the mudaf,
Dharf.
and then you said is
Yeah.
dharf, not mudaf. Okay, got it.
Yeah, dharf. Yeah. And of course, inside the mudaf ilay of hina is another jumla. That's where we are getting that as the mubtada. And the siyaqa will be the mubtada. Any other questions there or clarifications?
So what we are learning here is that when there is a mudaf ilayh and if there is a harf jar in front of it, then what harka will it take?
Most likely kasra. It is advised to take a kasra, but both can apply. You can have fihina or fihini.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
But better to use a kasra. Just like min qabli an. Min qabli an yadhhaba. Min qabli. You know, but if there's no mudaf ilay, you just say ba'du, qablu. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. The ظرف here is light, no al. So it is a mudaf, and then whatever comes after it. Like for example, من بعد أن يذهب. من بعد ذهابه. Right? You can replace it with a masdar. This an. And السياقة, this could be replaced as with a masdar because it's a masdar mu'awwal. So you can easily replace it with an isim. So that masdar mu'awwal is going to be في محل jar مضاف إليه.
So it is متعلق to whom then?
What is متعلق to?
Like this fi hina and the whole sentence, it is متعلق to whom?
So that's a good question. Yeah, because I hadn't looked at it that way. So let's see. في حين أن السياق في سورة الأنعام مختلف وليس السياق في التعبيرات. I think there's something missing.
Can you say
probably.
هو?
محذوف.
Can
Yeah.
you say هو is محذوف here?
Yes. Yes, I was thinking along those lines as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Looks like there's a مبتدا that is محو في حين أن السياق. Probably. That's how you could look at it. All right. Any other clarifications or questions? Yeah, so the whole sentence probably is a متعلق to something محذوف that is understood, that is obvious and is not mentioned. So في حين is normally translated as whereas. Whereas, so he was giving an example of something, and then now he's saying whereas the context in Surah Al-An'am is different, and the context is not in changes and in alteration. The context does not deal with alterations. وإنما هو في صفات الله تعالى وقدرته وتفضله على خلقه. And the context إنما هي هو, referring back to the context, it is only in the attributes of Allah, exalted be He, and His power and His favor or grace on His khalq, on His creation. Yeah. Right. Okay, I think we had read this ayah as well. We had finished all the way up to there last time. So we're going to begin the last portion of page 27. If there's anybody who wants to participate, you can raise your hand. Or you can unmute yourself and you can read. Let's see here. Anybody? Going once. Oh, there we go.
Okay,
All right.
I
Ashi.
can. My voice is still clear.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فأنت ترى أنه بدأ الآية الجملة الاسمية.
فأنت ترى أنه بدأ الآية. بدأ. How do you read الآية?
الآية but I think آية
Ah.
I'm confused here.
No. بدأ الآية.
الجملة الاسمية
Mhm.
وكان مسندها اسما أيضا.
Mhm.
ثم جاء بعده باسمين آخرين هما مخرج الميت.
آخرين. باسمين آخرين هما. We can put like 2 dots there, ellipses.
مخرج الميت وفالق الإصباح.
فالق الإصباح.
ثم ذكر أنه يخرج الحي.
يخرج الحي. Yeah.
بالصورة الفعلية
صورة الفعلية.
لما ذكرت من حركة الحي. لما ذكرت من الحركة الحي.
لما. I'm gonna make this ذكرت.
Okay.
And I'll
I
explain.
thought it was mentioned.
Yeah, you can look at it that way. But I feel like
Okay.
it makes more sense as active rather than passive.
Okay. من حركة الحي بخلاف ما في آية آل عمران.
آل ما في آية
آل عمران
عمران.
من دلالة
Mhm.
على التغير والحركة. على
Yes.
التغير والحركة.
Beautiful.
فالسياق مختلف.
Mhm.
ولذا ولذا
ولذا. Mhm.
ولذا تتولى أفعال في هذه الآية.
تتوالى الأفعال.
تتوالى في هذه الآية. ووضع كل صيغة في المكان.
وضع
كل صيغة.
Okay. كل صيغة. Yes.
صيغة في المكان اللائق بها.
Beautiful. في المكان اللائق بها. Right, so let's read this again. So فأنت ترى أنه بدأ الآية بالجملة الإسمية وكان مسندها اسما أيضا، ثم جاء بعده باسمين آخرين هما مخرج الميت وفالق الإصباح، ثم ذكر أنه يخرج الحي بصورة الفعلية لما ذكرت من حركة الحي، بخلاف ما في آية آل عمران من دلالة على التغير والحركة، فالسياق مختلف، ولذا تتوالى الأفعال في هذه الآية، فوضع كل صيغة في المكان اللائق بها. Okay, so what is Dr. Fadil saying here? Dr. Fadil is saying, now, if you look at the ayah, you would see فأنت ترى أنه بدأ الآية بالجملة الإسمية. You would see that the ayah begins with جملة إسمية. إن الله فالق الحب والنوى. If you look at the ayah, what do you see? جملة إسمية. إن and its اسم, right? وكان مسندها اسما أيضا. And he says even the خبر فالق الحب والنوى. What is فالق? This is اسم فاعل. So even the khabar is an isim also. So where did I get the khabar from when he says musnaduha? So this is the concept in balagha where you have musnad and musnad ilay. Musnad ilay, it is the topic. It is what is being discussed, right? And then musnad is whatever comes, the subject. So you have the topic, which is the musnad ilayhi, and then the musnad is the subject of the topic of what is being discussed. So the musnad can be the khabar, can be the fi'l, can be a number of other things, right? And the musnad ilayhi, the topic, can be the mubtada, can be the fa'il, the person doing the action, and a number of other things, right? So here he's saying the subject, you can even see the subject of the topic is also an ism. فالق الحب والنوى is also an ism. ثم جاء بعده باسمين آخرين هما مخرج الميت وفالق الإصباح. And as you can see, he brought two other isms. Yeah. So فالق الحب مخرج الميت is an ism, مخرج الميت. And here again, فالق الإصباح. So this is what he is referring to in this section. Not the first one, but the second one. Right? So he brought again two other isms later on. ثم ذكر أنه يخرج الحي بصورة الفعلية. Then he mentioned that he brings, okay, it's not in order, but he's trying to explain to you the structure, like what the ayah looks like. So you have, it starts with the jumla ismiya, and even the khabar is جملة اسمية or it's an ism. And then there are also other isms after it. But in between here, you can see there's a فعل يخرج الحي من الميت. So there's a specific فعل that is being used there. So he says ثم ذكر أنه يخرج الحي. Then he mentioned that he is the one who brings out the living بصورة الفعلية in the form of a فعلية, a جملة فعلية. لما ذكرت من حركة الحي, due to what I mentioned as far or concerning the motion of the living. So here before, if you to look at what he mentioned before, what did he mention before? He mentioned that there was a lot. Let me clear it up so that we can be able to read this. So in this part, he explained to us how Jumla fi'liya comes with living because it signifies motion, and Jumla ismiya comes with the dead because death signifies motionlessness. So he says, إن السياق في آل عمران يختلف عنه في الأنعام. There's a difference between the context in Surah Al Imran and Surah Al-An'am. وذلك أن السياق في آل عمران هو في التغيير والحدوث والتجدد عموما. فالله سبحانه يؤتي ملكه من يشاء. So he goes on to explain how generally when the context is about movement and renewal and regeneration, you have the idea of the fi'l coming in, right? And when you have motionlessness, stillness, you have permanence in a sense, in death, then you have this idea of an ism being used. So now later on he goes on to say, in this ayah, إن الله فالق الحب والنوى يخرج الحي من الميت, Allah changed, instead of saying مخرج الحي, he could have said مخرج الحي, because now to keep in line with the theme of using jumla ismiya, of using an ism, he could have said مخرج الحي, but he changed it. He went from ismiya to fi'liya. Why? Because he was talking about life. He was talking about the living. And the living is something to do with motion, is something to do with haraka, with renewal, with regeneration. And that's why he brought the fi'l يخرج. And then he went back to talking about in a jumla ismiya form when he went back to mayit, ومخرج الميت. So you see what Dr. Fadil is saying there? So لما ذكرت من حركة الحياة الحي, due to what I mentioned before about the motions of the living. So he mentioned this in the picture of a fi'l because of what I mentioned to you about the motions of the living. Is that part kind of making sense? I know this part is a bit confusing, but we can break it down a little bit later, as long as you just understand what he's trying to say. Because he explained before that the living have to do with motions, and that's why he brought it in Jumla Fi'liya. So he brought it in Jumla Fi'liya because of the living. And what I mentioned to you before of the Harakat al-Hayy, or if you're looking at this as لما ذكرت من حركة الحي, or what was mentioned about the due to what was mentioned about the motions of the living. So you can look at this as لما ذكرت or لما ذكرت. I find ذكرت better because he just mentioned it before, right? And he's the one who actually brought this idea, so he's the one who mentioned it. So it makes sense to me that he would refer it to himself having mentioned this idea. All right. Okay, great. Then he says بخلاف ما في آية آل عمران من دلالة على التغير والحركة, in contrast to what we find in Surah Al Imran. Okay, so you can see this is the An'am that we're dealing with. If you go back to Al Imran, what do you see? You see the context, the entire context has to do with change. Like تنزع الملك من تشاء, he yanks away the kingdom from whoever he wishes, and he gives kingdom to whoever he wishes. And there's the idea of night coming into day and day coming into night. So there's a lot of alterations and changes. So in that sense, he also used the jumla fi'aliya for death, because there's so much alteration in the context, and that's why everything was mentioned in jumla fi'aliya. That's what he's saying. So he comes and says, in contrast to what is in Ali Imran, min dalalati ala taghayyuri wal haraka. The context in Surah Ali Imran indicates change and motion and movement, and that's why those jumla fi'aliya all throughout, even when the mention of death came. فَالسِّيَاقُ مُخْتَلِفٌ. So in such a case, therefore, the context is different. If you look at the context in Ali Imran, is different from the context in An'am. And that is why لذا تتوالى الأفعال في هذه الآية. And that is why in the ayah of Ali Imran, where there's a lot of change and motion and movement and alteration and all that, that is why you had all these fi'ls following each other. You had all these fi'ls following each other. فوضع كل صيغة في المكان اللائق بها. So he put all the forms in its correct, suitable place. Right? So he put all the forms in the most or appropriate place for it. Are we good as far as the meaning is concerned and the reading of that? Like, is the meaning, I hope the meaning comes across what he's trying to say. Again, remember he's comparing An'am and Ali Imran. Great. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So let's break it down. So, فأنت, what do we know about أنت? This is our first rafa'. So this is going to be our mubtada. Okay. And then whatever comes after it, depending on how long it is, we'll say that is our khabar. So tara, that's going to start our khabar bucket. All right. فأنت ترى أنه. So inside that khabar, we'll see how long it goes or up to where it goes, is a jumla fi'aliyah. So tara is a fi'al. So this is our fi'al. And of course, the fa'il is the inside pronoun anta, which goes back to the anta outside, right? Obviously. So فأنت ترى, ترى ماذا? What do you see? Whatever comes after it. Again, what kind of a fi'il is tara? Is it actual seeing, or is it the seeing of the mind? Is it the seeing of the eyes or seeing of the mind? What do you guys think?
It's actual seeing,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're actually looking at the words, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you look at the words, you actually see that he began this with that. So if it is the seeing of the eyes, what do we have? Do we have
We
two
see that.
maf'ul or
Two mafuls. Yeah.
Yeah, we see that it begins with a jumla ismiya and then it is followed by verbal sentence and so on. Yeah. This
Yeah,
will end
but
till fal asbah, right? This is where it ends, right?
let me see. أنه بدأ الآية بكلمة الاسمية وكان مستنفع اسما
Because
أيضا
huma can be taken as a sifa of ismain, ismaina.
Up to here.
Asbah,
Asbah.
no? Because
The
how
end.
I'm taking it that summa ja'a ba'dahu bi ismina akhirina, which are, I'm taking it which are huma mukhrij and faliq. So I'm taking this sentence huma mukhrijul
There's a
mayyit wa faliq as
thumma. There's a lima.
no,
There's
no. Isbah,
Huh.
isbah, till isbah, faliqul isbah. Before summa.
I'm not understanding your question though. Like, what is?
No, I'm saying this maf'ul will end at faliqul isbah,
Oh, the
right?
maf'ul. Oh, you're looking at the maf'ul. Okay. I thought you were looking at how like this whole sentence. So it was connected. There's so many harf atf. Okay. Fine. Right. Okay, let's see the مفعول. أنه بدأ الآية بالجملة الاسمية وكان مسندها اسما أيضا. No, it's not going to go all the way there. No, it's not going to go all the way there.
Why can't we take
Because there's a
huma as a
thumma.
sifa of No. Okay, you make the explanation and then inshallah. I'm okay. There's a summa there. Okay. Okay, got it.
Okay.
My bad.
All right. Okay. Let's go slowly. So anyway, we were trying to agree. When you have the fi'l tara, this is the fi'l qalb. It can either come with two maf'ul bihis or it can come with one maf'ul bihi and a hal. All right. And we were agreeing, is it, in this case, if it's the seeing of the eyes, is it two maf'ul bihis or maf'ul bihi and a hal? Anybody remember? Which is which?
I think when it will be afal qulub, it will have two mafuls.
Yes. If it is two, if it is
Yeah.
af'al al-qulb, if it's the seeing of the mind,
Yeah.
then you have
So it
two
will have two
maf'ul
maful.
bihis. So in this case, it's not the seeing of the mind, is it?
No.
It's the seeing
So
of
it
the
will have
eyes.
only one maful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will have only one maf'ul bihi. Right? So this sentence أنه بدأ الآية بالجملة الاسمية وكان مسندها اسما أيضا, this part will be under the مفعول به bucket. What will you see? This is what you would see. All right? And actually, because it's an entire sentence, we'll say that this sentence is but it's not مفعول به. Wait, is it مفعول به and a hal or two مفعول بهs? Why am I confused? This thing always confuses me for some reason.
No, it's really like we know that afal qulub, when we have two mafuls and the two mafuls can be translated into a mubtada and the khabar. So there's
Yes,
a whole story behind it.
yes.
Yeah.
So you would say that that sentence
Yeah.
is سد مسدس مفعولي
Yeah.
مفعولي ترى.
Yeah.
Okay, so in any case, this is مفعول به, right? So this أنه بدأ, this entire جملة would be the مفعول به. What would you see? This is what you would see. All right. So you enter inside that مفعول به and it's another جملة اسمية. So أنه is our مبتدا. بدأ الآية بالجملة الاسمية. That part is a خبر في محل رفع. And inside that خبر again is a جملة فعلية. So again بدأ is a فعل. فاعل is the inside pronoun هو, going back to the Quran or Allah in this case, that he started what? Al-ayata. So al-ayata is a maf'ul bihi. And then بالجملة الاسمية, this is a متعلق بالفعل in this case. واو حرف عطف, كان مسندها اسما أيضا is connected to this, the previous sentence, بدأ. So بدأ وكان. That's kind of like how that's connected. So that's one bucket. And of course, inside this, whatever is connected, the ma'tuf, you have a jumla fi'liya with kana, but we normally treat it as jumla ismiya, right? So kana is your fi'l, naqis. And then musnaduha, this is the fa'il of kana, and together they will form the mubtada, right? And as you can see, isman is nasab, because the khabar of kana is always nasab or mansub. So that is a khabar. And then aydan is what is aydan? Anybody remember?
What?
Say that again.
Sifa?
I couldn't hear you.
Sifa?
No,
I
it's
don't think it's a
Yeah.
sifa. Yes.
It is more like like
More like what?
addiction or something, like a hal or something, you know, how, likewise.
Yeah. So when you have that those kinds of words, what normally do we say?
Mm. What normally do you say?
مفعول something.
Huh?
It's
What?
it's a مفعول
مفعول
something.
مطلق مفعول
Yes,
مطلق
مفعول مطلق.
Yes.
So the ooh is there. Okay.
Yeah. That is a مفعول مطلق. I know we'll have to just like sort of understand this مفعول مطلق as they come along. You know, كثيرا, أيضا, قليلا. What other words can I think of right now? إضافة.
But looks like you come with a fail, right? There's no failure. It's jumla ismiya.
Yeah, so this is the world of نائب مفعول مطلق, but you will just sometimes they just categorize that whole world into one and they just put it as مفعول مطلق. Personally, I like to distinguish and I would probably say نائب مفعول مطلق because this is a صفة to the مفعول because the فعل is missing, is محذوف. The فعل is آذى. So the
Okay.
فعل is missing. So now you just have that مفعول مطلق being mentioned without its فعل, and therefore it is normally called نائب مفعول مطلق, right?
Okay.
Yeah. It will come with time. With مفعول مطلق, you'll get a point where you'll just be able to spot them, and immediately you see them, you'll be like, مفعول مطلق. Or for now, just know that these words قليلا, كثيرا, إضافة, what else? أيضا. These kinds of words, they're going to be your نائب مفعول مطلق. Right?
Okay.
And then you have ثم.
Always?
ثم, go on.
It will always be like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Always. Yeah. Of course, depending on if it's used in a different way, then we can't say, yeah, like, but if it's like this in particular, like it can come as صفة in certain contexts, but not like this at the end of a sentence sometimes. Like, درست كثيرا. In that context, then it's definitely مفعول مطلق. نائب مفعول مطلق. Right? Yeah. Then you have ثم. ثم is a حرف عطف and is connecting this this sentence to what came before. So جاء, ثم جاء. I think it's connecting to, what is it connecting to? To بدأ? Yeah. Yeah. So بدأ and then ثم جاء. So he started the ayah with a jumla ismiya. Then he brought two other isms, right? He brought two other isms. So this ثم is connecting جاء with بدأ, that sentence. And then جاء is a فعل. And then the فاعل is the instant pronoun هو, which goes back to, again, this بدأ, which goes back to Allah. ثم جاء بعده. What is بعد? بعد is a ظرف. And we said, we talked about this, you know, if it doesn't have a مضاف إليه, but in this case it has a مضاف إليه, right? And of course there's no حرف جار before it. So ثم جاء بعده, this is a ظرف متعلق to جاء فعل. بعده جاء ب. So this جاء is married to this با, حرف جار با. So باسمين. اسمين, this is also موصوف. Oh, what did I just do? Where are they? Okay. ثم جاء باسمين آخرين. So this جاء ب, the ba goes back to جاء, is married to باء. So this is متعلق. اسمين آخرين, this is متعلق بجاء بالفعل, right? And of course اسمين آخرين موصوف صفة. So آخرين is مجرور just like اسمين, right? And then هما is a بدل. Is a yeah, is a بدل, right? Am I right, guys? Why am
I took it as a sifa.
Huma is a sifa?
Sifa number 2.
Ah, right. Yes.
Because it's
yes.
common.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. Yeah. Right, of course. Yeah, so you have ismaini is nakira, and then بعدها الجملة هما مخرج وفالق الأصباح. That would be the sentence that is sifa number 2. So آخرين is sifa number 1, and آخرين is and هما, that whole sentence is sifa number 2. And then of course هما is a mubtada, and then مخرج الميت is a khabar, and then فالق الأصباح is متعلق to that khabar, right? And then this tumma is going back to this tumma, so it's connecting this sentence with this sentence. So ثم ذكر أنه, ذكر again is a فعل, the فاعل is the inside pronoun هو, going back to the same هو that we have been talking about. So ذكر, again mentioned, this is another one of those fi'als that take on two مفعول بهs, or like, yeah, in a similar space. So he mentioned whatever comes after it's going to be مفعول به, two مفعول بهs. So this sentence is going to be سد مسدة مفعولي ذكر. So he mentioned this whole thing. Yeah, so that whole thing is going to be our مفعول به of ذكر. And inside that مفعول به you have أنه, which is our مبتدا, and then يخرج الحي, whatever this is in quotes, is going to be our خبر, right? أنه, that he يخرج يخرج الحي, that he extracts the living. بالصورة الفعلية, of course باء حرف جار, الصورة مجرور, الفعلية صفة of صورة, and together they form the متعلق بالخبر of أنه. So أنه يخرج الحي بصورة الفعلية, that's our متعلق بالخبر number 1. لما ذكرت من حركة الحي. لما, لام حرف جار, ما اسم موصول, and also it's the اسم مجرور of لي, so together they kind of like connected like that. Then ما اسم موصول, ذكرت فعل, part of the sila, starting the sila, so ذكرت فعل, فاعل inside pronoun, and أنا من حركة الحي would be the متعلق بالفعل to ذكرت. If you look at it as ذكرت, if you look at it as ذكرت, what was mentioned من حركة الحي, then من حركة الحي would be the نائب الفاعل of ذكرت, be the نائب الفاعل of ذكرت. So due to the movement of life that was mentioned, right? Or the movement of the living that was mentioned. Yeah. That's one way of looking at it. Or if you look at it as active, due to what I mentioned of the movement of the living, or from the movement of the living. Yeah, which I find more straightforward than making it passive. But again, either way, it points to the same meaning, doesn't it? Yeah. Then you have بخلاف ما في الآية. Again, B حرف جار, خلافي, مجرور, so this is a متعلق, and then خلافي again is a مضاف, ما is a مضاف إليه. So this begins another giant jar مجرور متعلق to the فعل, right? So ما اسم موصول في آية آل عمران صلة الموصول, right? So that's our مضاف إليه of خلافي. And then you have من دلالة على التغير والحركة. Again, من دلالة, this is another متعلق. دلالة, we know دلالة comes with على, so that's kind of connected still. على التغير والحركة, again another متعلق. This is connected to what? What is this connected to? من دلالة على التغير والحركة. I think it goes back to ما في آية.
Is it going back to ma?
Yeah, I think so. What I was thinking.
Because if you consider this Silatul Mawsul, like in this, there is in the ayah of Ali Imran
Yeah,
an
it's talking
evidence.
about, yeah.
Evidence.
Yeah, it's definitely referring to Ali Imran and not outside
Yeah.
Ali Imran. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
So it is
definitely connected.
it is like huwa min dalalati ala taghayyur, right? So it is going back to the huwa of ma.
I think so, yeah. I didn't think about that part, to be honest. But yeah, that makes the most sense. That makes the most sense.
Because if you think what is it evidencing? So the evidence is going what is in the ayah, and there's what is ma.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, let's just take it like that for now. If I think about it later on and something else comes up, I will share with you. But for now, I'm thinking, yeah, that makes the most sense. So it goes back. This is متعلق to again ma. Okay, so that's متعلق number 1 and then متعلق number 2. Or like part of that sila, if you will. Part of the silatul mawsul there. Yeah. So فالسياق مختلف. This is so easy. Like I miss such sentences. مبتدا خبر, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and you're just done. Not even a متعلق بالخبر. Yeah. Just مبتدا خبر, done. السياق مختلف. ولذا this is like when we are used to لذلك, because that's the most common way of saying that. But remember, the ismul ishara is just that. And then you can have li, you can have إذا, you can have another lam, you can have ka, you can have several parts to it, right? So you can say لذا, you can just say ذا, you can say لذاك, you can just remove the lam of بعد, the lam that shows distance. So لذلك is made up of this lam, the beginning, then you have that, then you have another lam of distance, and then you have ka, the person you're pointing it to. So this one, you can see they've kind of like omitted the last part. Okay, so they've omitted this last part, and you just have li there. So حرف jar li of because, lam التعليل, and then the pointer that. All right, so this is لذا, this is jar majrur here, because lam harf jar, and then that ism majrur, so together that's jar majrur. تتوالى الأفعال, تتوالى is a فعل, right, from family number 6, تساءل family. تتوالى الأفعال, this is the فاعل, the outside doer of تتوالى. في هذه الآية جار مجرور متعلق بالفعل. All right. So this is متعلق بالفعل as well. Number 1. And this is متعلق بالفعل number 2. So تتوالى essentially the sentence was تتوالى الأفعال في هذه الآية لذا, because of that. Right? So because of that, the fi'ls, they follow each other in this ayah. فوضع كل صيغة, so fa عاطفة, or you can look at it as استئناف. وضع is our فعل. The فاعل is the inside pronoun هو. So he placed, again going back to Allah, he placed what? كل صيغة مفعول به. So he placed every form في المكان اللائق بها متعلق بالفعل. Right? And then of course المكان اللائق, this is موصوف صفة. And then بها is متعلق to اللائق. اللائق بها, suitable for it. So بها comes with اللائق. Any questions or clarifications or corrections or comments? Okay, I think we have some more minutes. We can try and see how much. Let's see what we can be able to do. So من ذلك قوله تعالى, so he gives another example of a similar situation, right? So he says من ذلك. Is that a question? Or somebody wants to read? Yes, Fawzia.
Yes.
Sister Lam,
No.
further. Just a minute, sister. Can you just reinforce this thing? Am I getting it right? This sentence summa zakara is starting from here and it is ending at taghayyuril wal harakati.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's all in one string, right?
Yes. All that is one sentence, which is connected to the previous
Okay.
sentence, thumma, which is connected to the previous sentence. Yeah.
So in this we have a lot of mutalliqs, right?
Lots. You can see,
Okay.
like, بصورة الفعلية, but again, there's a lot of متعلقs, but it depends what is it connected to. It is متعلق to what. But most of them are going back to the ذكر, right? So بصورة الفعلية لما ذكرت.
ذكر. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this one من حركة الحي is going back to ذكرت. بخلاف ما في, and then you have this fi going back to ma, and then this going back to ma. So there's a lot of متعلقs, but you just have to know where is it connecting to. دلالة is heavy. Are you talking about من دلالتي? Yeah.
Yes. It's Dalalatin, right?
No.
Why?
ما في آية آل عمران من دلالتي.
It's heavy.
For me, it doesn't sound right as heavy. Why? I don't know. Subhanallah.
Yeah, it sounds right, but I think there's no reason for it to be light.
I think because it's a mudaf, but why am I confused? Because I think it comes with ala.
So the lala thing is majroor. Min yeah, the lala thing, I think majroor, that's why I thought.
Actually, yeah, you're
right. Right?
Yeah. من دلالة على التغير والحركة. Huh. Yeah, it should be heavy, I guess. And I can't think of a reason why it should be light. But for some reason, I don't know why it sounded so nice as light.
Yeah, it sounds right, really light.
Yeah.
Also, it comes with Allah also, I think, fail. Dalla, Allah, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Dalla comes with ala.
We do have the-
It's married to
Yeah,
ala.
we do have harfs. They are married to this, but still they are having their effects, you know. They are amil. So in the translation, yes, you can delete Allah and you can say as an evidence of tagayyur and harka. But when you're looking at the harka, the Allah is going to break the chain.
So is
Yeah,
it dalalatin or dalalati?
It should be
I
dalalatin
think.
because whatever is there, the harf is there, it is amil, right? It is making its effect. So it's breaking the chain of the lala. But when you will do the translation, obviously you will not consider the lala as being there.
The confusion is not ala, whether ala is working or not. The confusion is like, is dalala light
It should be
or
heavy.
heavy? Yeah. Yeah.
It should be heavy. It should be heavy.
I think
Yeah.
it sounds
Yes.
right to you because we've been reading lil dalalati
Probably.
because of the
Yeah.
jar majroor word.
Hmm.
Or
But then
probably
we have an al
because,
word.
yeah, or probably because others have al before it, من الدلالة. And so in my mind, it's
Hmm.
just, I'm assuming the al. But here there's no al.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
probably, yeah, من دلالة على التغير والحركة. It would have been, I don't know, in my head should have been better with an al on it. من الدلالة على التغير. Anyway, that's how he wrote it. Okay, so there's a question here. Question, can you have anything between a mudaf and a mudaf ilayh? Technically, I'm gonna say yes, but 99% of the time, no. Okay, so what we know is no. But technically, yes. Like if we were to look at all the rules and whatnot, yeah, there are a couple of exceptions where something like that can happen. I don't know that this is one of them. I have never come across this. Yeah, I mean, for some reason it felt right as a mudaf in my head, but maybe because I'm reading it with al, من الدلالة على. Yeah. Okay, so in translation, you won't translate the ala, and that's why probably it sounds like a mudaf ilay, because the ala comes with a dalala. It's married to it, so you don't translate the ala. And because you're not translating the ala, that's why it is sounding as a mudaf ilay in English. Because if you remove the ala, then it becomes dalalati تغيري, دلالة التغير, evidence of change. There's no ala when you're translating it. So yeah, but that's something, yeah, I guess we'll just make it heavy and move on. Yeah. Any other questions or clarifications?
One question,
Mhm.
same place. The min dalalatin, can that be a sifa? Because I'm looking at the translation again and I'm getting confused. It's in contrast with what is in Al Imran, that indicates.
Then a sifa of what?
Yeah.
But the ayah is proper over here.
Yes, probably if
Yeah.
unless hal, unless you say that's the hal of ayah.
Okay. Okay. No. Okay. We'll just stick with the muta'alliq then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think just muta'alliq is better.
Okay. Thank you.
Or let me think. في آية آل عمران من دلالة على التغير والحركة. Actually, yeah. Okay. Actually, it's so this is what is happening. So you see here, min harakatil hayy. This part is what he mentioned. What I mentioned from the movement of life, in contrast to min dalalati ala التغير والحركة. What? No, I just confused myself more. Oh, subhanallah. It just happened. I don't know what just happened in my mind, but I think I'm at my capacity right now. So let's just go with متعلق بالخبر بالخبر right now, and then I will think about this part a little bit more, whether it can mark as a hal as well. Mm, yeah, let's just take it as a متعلق for now, because my brain has stopped thinking. I have stopped thinking, unless somebody has an idea.
I think what Sister Fawzia, what was it you who suggested it?
Yeah.
जी,
Okay, so what Sister Fawzia is suggesting it, that how she's looking at it is that in contrast to what is in the ayah of Ali Imran, which evidences tayyur and harka. Is this how you're taking it?
yes,
Mm,
yes, yes.
that's how she's taking it, you know. So it is like this. But the thing is, do we have a jar majroor acting as a sifa for a common?
It's not common.
Yeah.
That's what you just pointed out. So
So
Yeah.
you can have a jar majroor as a sifa for a common. No, you really can't. Really? I'm not sure.
you can have a jar majroor as a sifa for a common. That's correct. But here we
That's
don't
correct.
have a common.
Yeah,
Ayah
that's not
Al
a
Imran
common.
is proper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can't have this construction with a proper, right?
Mhm. And we've said that this is mutallaq to ma.
Ma, or you can say there's a huwa in between, the mubtada that is understood to be there.
Yeah, okay. So again, all proper.
Yeah. Yeah, so it goes back to what he's trying to say. What is he trying to say? He's trying to say that in contrast to what is in the ayah of Ali Imran, from the evidence that was given, if you will, from the evidence that was given on change and movement, right? So from the evidence of the context, in other words, it is in contrast, it is different to the ayah in Ali Imran, which is in the context of التغير and حركة. So from دلالة على التغير والحركة, from the evidence of change and حركة, something like that. Yeah. So it is not the ayah that is evidencing or giving proof to motion and alteration, but rather it is the fi'l, the usage of the fi'l that indicates, or rather the context that indicates alteration and haraka. Yeah. So here I think it's referring to the context. It is the context that is to do with alteration. Yeah, this, especially with the the jar majroor muta'alliqs, they really, really wind up your brain, especially when they just follow each other like this. Becomes crazy because now you have to find out, is it muta'alliq to this or muta'alliq to that? What is he actually trying to say? Yeah, we miss such sentences. Like if everything was written in such sentences, it would be heaven. But no.
You know what I was thinking? Okay, Arabic is a beautiful language, but English is simple.
Oh
It is
yeah,
simple.
it is so simple. Yeah. Actually, my journey of learning Arabic is making me understand my, my mother tongue even more. I'm actually like, it's crazy how that is happening because now I'm seeing so much similarity and how my language is also structured in a kind of a similar way, but not exactly the same. Like when I see, I have started noticing that my language has a lot of mudaf ilayh. Yeah, that was interesting. Anyway,
La
I think,
tutir nafsaka.
oh yeah. Yeah, I won't. Yeah, don't worry. لا تقلق. لا تقلقي. لا تتعبي. Right? Because it's women. We're talking about women. So لا تقلقي. لا تتعبي نفسك. Anyway, I think that's a good place to stop. And then tomorrow, inshallah, we can tackle another. It's starting to get a little bit difficult, I guess. I thought this chapter was easy peasy lemon squeezy, but then I think this page especially has a little bit of technicalities that we will have to look at, inshallah. So tomorrow we'll start the beginning of this passage, unless there's any other burning question or correction, clarification, comments. I think this is a good place to stop.
Yeah, I have
Right.
one question.
Yes.
When will it become easy?
Yes, it's a good question. I mean, subhanallah. I'm sure even there are people who are like, yeah. I don't know.
I don't
Inshallah,
know.
one day.
It-
يوما من الأيام.
Okay,
Someday.
till death do us apart. I think that day.
Yeah. We'll just keep on
Actually,
keeping
there's
one
so much
one at a
depth
time.
in each
Yeah,
word and its construction. So much depth. We're lucky to have this understanding, and thank you, Sister Ilham.
of course. You're welcome. I'm learning a lot, and also it gives us appreciation of the Quran. Now we just don't read this ayah. Like next time you read this ayah in Surah Al Imran or Al An'am, you'll be like, "Ha! I know why," or rather, I know from Dr. Fadil's understanding, it could not be the only reason. There could be other reasons, by the way. Just because Dr. Fadil suggested this reason doesn't mean this is the only reason. So that has also to be at the back of our minds. This is one of the reasons that we can understand the ayah, you know. So you can be reading that and be like, I know why it's Jumla Fi'aliyah. I know why it's Jumla Ismiyah. Or I understand and appreciate the reasoning behind it. Yeah.
And maybe we could put a
Absolutely.
sticky note in our own musaf so that, when we reach it, we will be reminded of it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Great
All this
idea.
ayat that we've covered, yes. Beautiful idea. Like from the beginning of chapter 1, like we've covered so many ayats. If you can have like a sticky note or I don't know, something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is what I had started doing, but left it.
Oh,
But now I'll continue, inshallah.
yeah, you should definitely do it. Because we forget. I mean, human beings, we forget almost immediately. Today we learned this, tomorrow we're still going to talk about Jumla Ismiya, Jumla Fi'aliya, and we're going to forget some things. SubhanAllah. So it's important. That's a good idea.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Even if we go slow, but we should do it so that.
Yeah, absolutely, Sakina. Absolutely. Thank you for that wonderful suggestion and idea. Any other ideas like that? Brilliant ideas or comments or suggestions? I know, I know. Like, and there's so much to uncover from the Quran. Like, I don't even know how to make this. Like, I just did 2 surahs, but I felt like I have been swimming in the depths of the ocean and I feel so exhausted because I just did Taghabun and recently I finished Qamar, like an in-depth study. I'm going to be studying Surah Hadid soon, but I feel like I've just uncovered so much and yet I haven't done anything. Subhanallah. So, yeah, this appreciation is stunning. Like this journey is just amazing. The Quran is 600 pages or something, but there's just oceans and oceans in the Quran.
Yeah, I have one practical suggestion.
Yes, please.
Before you start reading any kind of Arabic, you better have a cup of coffee to rush your adrenaline up.
Or eat some candy or something.
Anything,
Get you. Yeah.
just to harden you. What's coming is not easy.
Yeah, so inshallah it will get easier, inshallah. But yeah, what will be rewarded is our efforts and not necessarily the results. Even if we don't get to speak Arabic at some point in our life, even if that doesn't happen, But Allah is going to look at all these moments that you spent. Probably you spent hours and hours just in one line trying to figure out mudaf mudaf ilayh, so that you can appreciate and understand the Quran better. That is what is going to be rewarded. All those hours of just, is this mawsuf sifa, is this hal, is it tamyiz, is it maf'ul mutlaq, my favorite, naibu maf'ul mutlaq. Yeah, you get rewarded for all that, inshallah. Fantastic idea. Fantastic suggestions. All right, ladies, it's always a pleasure. I think we can stop there. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.